great time for an introduction. I'm going to make you nice and large on the camera, and if anything comes up, I'll let you know.
Thank you very much, Mackenzie. We're ready to roll. Hello. Happy summer. I have with me today Hobie Hare. Hi, Hobie.
Hi, Suzanne. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent.
Good. Hobie is my nature guru. And I use that term to indicate somebody who has a special connection and who can help other people create that connection. You know, isn't that what a guru is in some ways?
It sounds good.
Does it?
Yeah.
All right. Do you mind wearing the moniker?
No. I'm fine with that.
Well, I've invited Hobie here because yesterday was solstice. And if you read my blog, you will note that I spent a number of years in Alaska, and I became keenly aware of the movement of the sun in Alaska. Mm-hmm. Everything there is very exaggerated. And on both the winter solstice and the summer solstice, Alaskans have the habit of seeking a very high piece of ground, a mountain, to go and to pay homage to the sun. Because it's the differences between the seasons in Alaska is very dramatic. But they are here in Montana as well. They're very defining, don't you think?
I think so, definitely.
Yeah, and so I just wanted to stop and punctuate our normal lives by talking about summer and what summer means to us. And as I thought about doing this, I really enjoyed the fact that I went through sort of my catalog of issues and my catalog of memories, thinking, what does summer mean to me? You know, I kept mulling this over in anticipation of our conversation. And I guess one of the things I'd like to ask you, Hobie, is do you find that people's childhood memories and childhood places, summer places, have a hold on them, have a special meaning?
You bet. I think a lot of people just have these great memories that are triggered by this time of year. You could bite into a piece of watermelon or some cherries from our backyard or some strawberries from Suzanne's place, and that could just take you back to when you were 6 or 7 years old and carefree and probably didn't have school for the summer and maybe not a lot of chores or homework either. I think it's just a time of year when you have a lot of senses that are easily available to you, whether it's seeing something, smelling, hearing, tasting, feeling, or maybe it's an old song or just a picture. It can take you right back to those golden days, and I feel like we can keep creating some more of those golden days.
Well, very definitely. You know, when I started to write my blog, I thought about all the ways in which summer is used as an adjective. Mm-hmm. A summer job, a summer romance, a summer movie. You know, the summer is used to describe many, many, many things. You don't hear that with a spring job or a fall job. You know, it's always a summer. Mm-hmm. And it's such a defining point in time. So I started thinking about my own relationship with nature and summer, and I kind of wanted to share a small story. Okay?
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Dunrovin was named after a cabin that's in the Belt Mountains, which is in central Montana. You may know where the Belt Mountains are, south of Great Falls. Mm-hmm. My great-grandmother, Clara Burkhart, had been there as a young married woman and had her husband made a fortune in Nyhart in the silver mines there, and then she left Montana, and she hated leaving Montana. They moved back to Wisconsin. At any rate, many years later, my grandmother, when she became of age, moved to Montana because my grandmother had been born here. And when the last child left my great-grandmother joined my grandmother, and they built a cabin. And they called that cabin Dunrovin. And my great-grandmother hung a sign, said she never meant to leave Montana. She was back, and she was never going to leave again. She was Dunrovin.
Nice.
And that's the name of our little ranch. So you can see that the summers I spent at Dunrovin, and they were mostly summers. I think I was there a couple times in the winter, but the roads were impassable in the winter. You had to hike in. But I spent every summer there for many years, up until the time I was about 13. And those summers were so defining for what summer meant to me. And you're so right, Hobie. I mean, I can hear grasshopper wings, and it takes me back instantly to chasing grasshoppers so that I could catch them and fish in Carpenter Creek, which was where our Dunroven cabin was.
Nice.
Or I can smell the ozone after a thunderstorm. And that takes me back to, we had a screened porch where we would sleep, and I would be all snug underneath many quilts. And I would be hearing the thunder and seeing the lightning, and when it's close you can actually smell the ozone. And these memories are so deeply embedded in me that I think that they've become, you know, the driving forces for me in my life, and I didn't even recognize that they were. Those summers at Dunroven. So I just think the concept of summer and what happens to you in summer can have such a lifetime impact on you. And I can't go back in the same way to winter scenes or to even spring and fall scenes, but boy, summer, I can be right there.
It really shapes your life and directs your life. You know, when you're talking about that, it reminded me of growing up in Virginia and these huge thunderstorms that would rattle the house and our dogs would tremble, and we would just be like excited if the power went out. My parents weren't, of course, but we would be excited because like we could be more like pioneers because we lost the power for a couple hours or overnight, and the candles would come out. Yeah, and spectacular thunderstorms and summer storms, and it would cool off briefly in Virginia, then it would climb back up, and I can remember nights where it got down to 85 degrees, and that was something I don't really enjoy anymore, but we grew up before air conditioners in the 60s and 70s. I think we got our first air conditioner about 1970, and we were kids who grew up without that, and it wasn't a hardship, it was just part of living there. Yeah. And we went to the ocean a lot. Virginia Beach, Outer Banks of North Carolina, and eggs at Hatteras. Boy, now there's sights and smells. The smell of the ocean, it has its own organic sort of brew. Yeah. Yeah. I think I always tell people that Montana would be perfect if I could drive to the ocean in half a day. I can't quite get there from here, but I do love the ocean as well. So I'm wondering, Hobie, we have viewers from all over the United States and from Canada, and even some from Europe, and many of them are not out in nature as we are, and as we tend to live here in Montana. And one of the things I so love about Hobie is his ability to take people on a verbal tour through nature. Can you do that for us? Yes. Please make sure you're not operating any heavy machinery or driving right now if you're going to do this with us. It's really important. I want you guys to be able to focus if you're having to drive or operate some other heavy machinery. But if you look, past Suzanne and myself, you'll see a line of trees, and just imagine that you're able to take off your shoes. There's nothing that's going to bite you or, do anything to your feet or anything else, and you're able to walk barefoot on a path past us down to the river. And it's about 100 yards. And as you walk really slowly with your eyes wide open, take a lot of deep breaths and just smell the cooler temperature and the change in the humidity in the forest. Listen to the sounds of birdsong as you walk down towards the river. Notice some hummingbirds and other birds and other flying things around, such as butterflies flitting often by. I saw a bluebird fly overhead, so imagine that's part of your scene too. And really just kind of slow down and take some deep breaths and think about something that puts a smile on your face. Maybe it's a summer memory, or maybe it's that you don't have to work today or this evening, or you're not going to watch anything on TV or check your email. You're just going to walk down to this river, and you're going to sit down right by the stream, right by the river, and you're going to put your feet in the water, and it's going to feel cold at first because the snow just recently melted, but it's going to feel really invigorating. So give yourself some seconds to feel that river water swirling around your ankles. Know that they're either eventually going to get a little bit colder and numb, but it's going to feel really refreshing when you come back up here. Let's just sit down by that river for a second and take a couple more deep breaths. And close your eyes. And if you want to stick your hands in the water, you can. And just listen to the sound of the river as it flows past you, as it travels past a log, as it travels past some sticks. Maybe you'll hear the slapping of a beaver tail down there, or you'll hear some waterfowl. Just listen to the sound of the water and feel the breeze coming downstream. Feel the breeze kind of flowing through your hair and on your skin, helping you let go of anything that's bothering you or worrying you, something that you'd like to change but can't. Just imagine that you've got this beautiful, beautiful breeze taking your worries and your cares away and just filling you with great lightheartedness. And let's just sit here for a minute, and I'm going to be totally silent for about a minute, and let's just kind of enjoy that scene together. Just breathe, okay? And then I'll bring us back. Imagine that just as you're wrapping up your time with your legs dangling in the water and your hands in there too, imagine that Harriet the osprey flies over and says hi in her own particular way, greeting you to Denroven, letting you know you can come back here anytime if you just close your eyes and imagine that you're here. And feel free to come back anytime you're ready.
I love that image of Harriet flying by. That actually happens to me sometimes.
I bet.
It does.
That's cool.
In fact, there are a couple of roost trees. It's really sad this year we don't have any chicks and that Ozzy is gone, but Hal is certainly, getting whipped into shape by Harriet. I think I think he'll make a fine mate next year. He's been doing better and better, and it's been so fascinating watching them this year because it's just a whole new chapter in Harriet's life. But at any rate, I take morning walks down by the river almost every day, and very frequently I see one of the ospreys flying over me, and it just catches my breath every time. And they're cheap. No matter where I am on the property, if I hear one of the alarm cries, I look to the nest to see what's happening. I look up to see what's happening, and it's just a sign of summer here. It's part and parcel of Dunroven to have the ospreys here.
Yeah, and even along the Bitterroot River, we've got them all along the Clark Fork. Suzanne and I were talking earlier today about right near the baseball field called Ogren Park. Our baseball team is called the Osprey. There's a huge nest this year with a mated pair, and they've got a family.
That's fabulous. Yes. I think that they said that they're the only semi-pro team that has a mascot living at their stadium.
That's about right, yeah.
Yeah, that is just too neat.
Yeah.
Well, I also like the idea of the tactile parts of summer. I'm wearing shoes right now, but I love putting my feet in newly in fresh grass that's got dew on it in the morning. It has a very special tingle to the bottom of your feet, or putting it in that cold water that you were talking about, or running your feet in the sand of the ocean.
Yes.
Even walking in the mud and letting it squish between your toes. You're never too old to have a happy childhood. I've always told people that, you should live your life right at the intersection of a happy childhood, a late childhood, and an early eccentricity. Because that allows you to do just about everything.
Right. Yeah. And just to never grow up completely. Let that childhood spirit of yours really just shine forth and do things for fun, do things that have no purpose. Just get out and enjoy your life and kick back. Not everything needs to be graded or scored or evaluated.
Yes. And maybe that's one of the things that summer is about, isn't it?
Yeah.
About being a child again.
Yeah.
You know, about letting the inner child come out no matter how old you are. You have your summer day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. It's easy to want to skip in summertime.
Yeah.
So I spent solstice at a cabin in the mountains south of Butte, the backside of the Highland Mountains, where I once worked as a lookout. And this is a part of the mountain that I had never been in. I had looked at from my lookout. I had seen parts of it, but we were in the shadow of the lookout. Another mountain was between us, so we were quite where I could have seen. But it was thrilling for me to be there and to catch that last little bit of light on the shortest night of the year, and to catch the first rays of sun on the mountain's shoulders. I got up early, as a matter of fact, to do that. I wanted to witness the sun going down and the sun coming up, and I was in a beautiful place to do that. And it's interesting to me when you stop and really take notice of something, how everything seems to be still.
Yeah.
I mean, even though you're hearing things and there's still noises going on. In fact, where we were camped, we were in very close to a red-tailed hawk's nest. So he was working the area the whole time we were there. And you know, they have a very distinctive call.
They do.
Very distinctive. And he was making his call and flying right up into the trees right next to where we were. It was a spectacular way to spend solstice and to really fall in love with life again, with nature again. And where did you spend it then?
It was a mix. We were, let's see, I got up early on Friday morning to catch the sunrise. I think I got up at 4:30 and it was already totally light at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And just a beautiful sunrise. And one thing I like about this time of year is just how much far to the north and east the sun rises, and then it sets to the north and west in, the late evening. And went to a Pride Festival in Missoula and a big parade. And last night just spent a lot of time outside. I watched the sunset and just really celebrating the fact that we got such long nights and long days and short nights. And just how much bounty and beauty there is here. I grew up in Virginia, and I miss certain things about that place, but I just like the big open sky here, the friendships and family here, and being able to live in a place where nature's just so easy to access, and just a magical time of year. You can kind of kick back a little bit more. Don't have to work as hard.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I hope that all of you went on this mental journey with Hobie and were able to go to your favorite place and to recall your favorite memories, your summer memories, and that the beginning of this summer is one that's going to open up many doors and many opportunities for you to get out and enjoy the nature that is so important to you as it is to us. I know that many of you have nature in the big cities. Some of you go to Central Park, some of you go to the beaches, and you find it where you will. And it's all special. It's all magic. It can be found in an individual tree that is in your neighborhood. And I know some of you, I've heard you chat about special trees that you see outside your window that attract the birds, and that becomes perhaps your summer place. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, and thank you for coming. I hope you're going to come and pick some strawberries to take home.
I certainly will.
Yeah.
I certainly will. And can I mention how people can find me?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Certainly. Well, first have a strawberry.
All right, I will.
Okay. And as Susanna said, my name is Hobie Hare, and my company is Your Life Nature, YOURLIFE, nature, yourlifenature.com. And I help people connect with nature no matter where their feet are. And Susanna and I will be broadcasting together over the equinoxes and the solstices especially. And we like hanging out at Dunrovin, and we're glad you do too.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Happy summer.
Have a good day.
Have a good day. Thank you.
You bet.
Yeah. So I'll wait for Mackenzie to tell us that we're off, and that was just about right. 25 minutes.
Good.
That's just perfect.
I think short is good.
Short is good.
Because then we can just be extemporaneous and not worry about having to fill in time with something.
Yeah. These cherries are delightful. Let me show you where the strawberries are, and let me get you a bag.
Thanks, guys. See you. I want to see if anybody has any questions.
All right. Great. Go ahead. That would be wonderful.
That was a good prompt from.
Everyone saying thank you. Everybody enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.
I'm just watching out for questions now.
Okay.
Thanks, and happy summer. How many more people are you expecting on the ranch to visit this week from, the cyber community?
Well, we have one couple from...
What's the noise? Do you know what the noise is in the background there?
I think that's I don't need to use this. I think it's a mechanical noise coming from the neighborhood, and it just started. You mean the thumping noise? Yeah, there's somebody's using a piece of machinery somewhere.
Yeah.
And it really was disruptive. It was wonderful when you were talking because you could hear the birds and you could hear, and in fact I was thinking in my mind how nice it was that we didn't have any mechanical noises, and then that popped up. So there you have it.
Yeah, and it sounds like some kind of machine where they've got one of those backup sounds when it's going into reverse, because you can hear that going beep, 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 and then it's just a steady rattle, which is part of living just about anywhere, right?
Yeah, like a post hole digger or something of that nature.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think that might be it. Any other questions, Mackenzie? We're sitting here watching the
next... Thank you guys. Everybody thought it might be a woodpecker or something, so that's what the speculation there was.
Got it.
I apologize if I'm interrupting you there. I'm not getting a live channel from you right now, so it's a little tricky to watch when you're done talking. But I think we should probably call it an evening. Thanks again, Hobie, for coming out. Everyone really appreciated it. Thought it was lovely. I'm going to turn it back over to the birds after you say one quick goodbye. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, guys. Goodbye.
Bye. Have a great summer.
Have an awesome summer.
Yeah.